Welcome back to the Palooka Watch channel. I'm Mike. The other day I did a video on watch bands and how I personally like to clock a watch on my wrist. And I talked about how making the distance from the clasp or the buckle to the 6 o'clock on your watch shorter, right, will make it so your watch will stay on the inboard part of your wrist. It was a big deal for me, and it's just how I like to do it. But in that video, I kind of briefly touched on these bands I've been putting on dive watches. They're leather bands on a dive watch. I didn't get a lot of flack for it. I've gotten flack for it in the past. And the point I made, which I'm going to make again right here, is obviously if you're going to wear a dive watch while diving or surfing or snorkeling or swimming in your pool, you typically wouldn't want that on a leather band. We all know that. It only takes about a minute, if you know what you're doing, you have the right tool, to swap on a leather band, swap out your leather band for a rubber band or a NATO or a bracelet. Fine. But the fact of the matter is, the overwhelming majority of us who enjoy wearing dive watches, we're not taking them in the water. So a nice way to wear the watch is on a leather band. The problem is that bands that are commercially available, in my opinion, and I've looked at them, there's not a lot out there that are very robust. They don't look correct, in my personal mind, on the dive watch. Dive watch is a tool watch. Tough thing. You want something that looks kind of tough. So as I've been doing my entire life, when I can't find what I'm looking for, I figure out how to do it myself. I make it myself. And that's what I'm going to show you right now, are these bands I've been making and why I think a tool watch can look awesome on a tough guy leather band. So stick around, don't go anywhere. I'm going to show you some close-ups next. I think you guys will enjoy this. We're going to keep this one short, focused. Bam! All right, so what we have here is a few watches, Seikos, with bands that I made. I wanted to point out, because I don't know if I've really mentioned this, the leather that I'm using happens to be bison hide. Now, bison hide has properties that your standard cowhide just doesn't have. It's a lot stronger, and it's far more weather resistant, waterproof. I've got a pair of bison hide boots. They're custom made, and I step in puddles with them, and they never leak. I've never had one leak yet. So it's just amazing stuff. And I mention this because I've gone camping with my watches on before, like for instance this summer, where I had bison hide straps and I was in the water every single day and every one of those straps held up well. I'm not telling you should do that with a leather band. I'm just saying. Now, this all started with this watch in particular. Well, really, it started with these watches. You know, I was really into these Bund straps. Sometimes I refer to them as the Gladiator watch cuff. And this is your 55 fathoms. It's a Seiko 5. It's a great looking watch. And I just like the look. This watch has a vintage look to it, and I thought it would lend itself well to being on this style band, which is something you would see in the 1970s. And then I picked up this watch here, and I did a good video on this, I think, that demonstrates what anti-reflective coating is really about. This happens to have a sapphire crystal on it, and it does not have any anti-reflection, which means it reflects the sunlight, so you can use it to signal. And that's a nice thing. And I put it on this band, and I love it. It's just been wonderful. It's so comfortable, but I get that this is not for everybody. Of course, I line these all with a calfskin as well. So I picked up this watch, and it came on this rubber strap here, which is fine. It was perfectly comfortable. It's actually a silicone strap. And you can put this watch on a bracelet as well, but I just don't like it. What I like is what I have it on right now, which happens to be this bison hide leather strap. And I just wanted to point out how the thickness of it really lends well to a tool watch. Because again, most watches, watch straps that you buy when it comes to leather, they're just very thin and dainty. But this isn't. Now this is a 20 millimeter lug width on this watch, as it is on the standard Turtle. Now, this is a reissue of the Seiko Turtle from the 1960s, the 6105. And what I wanted to point out here, and the reason why I ended up going this route, is that the Seiko cushion cases, right? This is a cushion case, right? It's designed to wear extremely comfortably on your wrist. Seikos are some of the Seikos with the cushion style case are the most comfortable watches you can wear on your wrist. So I didn't want to put it on this. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to be making another band for this watch to get it off of this one because I think it's a little bit silly. Again, because it has a cushion case on it. But look at this. And what I like about what I'm doing, and it wasn't something that I did purposefully. I really didn't know what I was doing. I just ended up with this, but my stitching isn't exactly perfect. It's all handmade, and I think that that's what lends to the overall look of the band being so cool. Like this here has a 22 millimeter band, which is much better visually, I think. I think a thicker band works, but that's because these SKXs, it has to be an XKX 173. To go off the bands here for a minute, I'm not a fan of the SKX dial. I don't like the circles and the tic-tacs at the cardinal points. I prefer, on those watches anyhow, I prefer it to be these bars and blocks. I just think it's a better looking design. But this is just amazing. And I'll just pull this off here for you to show you. The thickness is the main thing, and it's just so supple. These bands, just being bison hide, you don't have to go through a break-in process with this. It comes like this. I mean, as soon as I'm done with it, I'm able to do this with the band, and it just conforms to your wrist. And you can wear this a little on the snug side on your wrist to lock it in place, and it's comfortable. And that's all I'm saying. I just wanted to show this to you guys so you guys can understand. What I'll do is if there's comments here where you guys want to see me make one of these, I'll do it because I am going to make a brown version for this. This is the precursor to the SKX. This is from 1990. And this one here happens to be from 2000. So this is a 25-year-old watch right here. It's running flawlessly. And again, this one here is from 1990. It's a beautiful watch. I think I've done a video on this already. I'm not sure. If I haven't, I will do it again. I'm going to put this on a brown band just to see what it looks like with the black dial. I think it's really going to pop. And I have an earlier one with the 6309 movement coming that's really unique. It has a, excuse me, a Pepsi bezel insert and an orange dial. So that'll be fun. And then I'll have the movements coming from like the 70s through the 80s, the 90s, 2000, right up to your modern day, you know, the 7S36, and then again, of course, the forearm movements and everything else. I just wanted to have a collection of the lineage of the Seiko divers. But for me to wear them comfortably, again, I just prefer the leather, and I thought you guys would get a kick out of this. You know, each one of these is different depending on the piece of leather I have, and I'm making these out of scrap bison hide that was originally sent to me by Chris from Broadwinger Boots. I just want to point out as well is these buckles. This buckle came on a leather band that was a Seiko band that came on another Seiko that I purchased, and typically, you know, these watches come on, like I was saying, a dive strap, which would be silicone or rubber. And you can use the buckles off of these to put on your leather if you're going to make it yourself. So I'll probably do this. I'll probably make you guys a video, show you the steps that I take to make one of these. It's a few leather tools, and it's the sort of thing you can practice on your own and figure it out. I was at the watch shop yesterday. Mike had to regulate this watch here for me. Excuse me. And it had this strap on it already. And so he's handling it the whole time. And he says, so you think you're going to make these available for sale? I said, you know, I don't know, man. I can't imagine people paying. Wouldn't even know what to charge. And this is a man that works on Rolexes. He works on Breitlings. He works on all the high-end watches. He's been certified by their schools. He's been doing this for over 40 years. He's a watchmaker, master, an incredible human being, great guy. And he says, Mike, this is a $300 band. He says, if you want to make people feel good, sell it for 280. But I didn't do this with the anticipation of selling them. However, if people keep hitting me up, because I keep getting asked, I may make these available, because this is something I can do. It does take several hours. It's about a 4-hour job, start to finish, roughly. So you guys let me know, plus the cost of material and everything else. Sometimes it takes longer. It just depends what I'm going through that day. The hard thing is the buckles. You know, these buckles here is from, I did a, matter of fact, I'll link it. It's not a great video, but I'll link it at the end of this video, of the buckles that I got from Mike. There's just, I've got jars. I've organized these into different containers based on size and style. And I've got 4 more of these, or 5 more of these full. Or maybe they're these size. So I've got plenty of buckles to play with, but when it comes to the fatter buckles, 20 mil to 22 mil, I don't have a lot that have anything on the buckle itself. So if somebody wanted one of these for their Seiko, and it came with one of these straps, you might want to send me the buckle, because then I could put a Seiko buckle on your leather. That's not what this video is supposed to be about. I'm not trying to push these on you. I just think that, you know, putting your tool watch on leather is just a tough look. And it's made tougher if, you know, you make one that is tough. Show this off for you. You can see here that I skived down this keeper to the perfect thickness. And I overstitch that, and I work this so it's super smooth right here. This is my own. I went off on the stitch here, but that doesn't matter. I even noticed this. Now this, I mentioned this in the video the other day. This is a buffalo hide, a water buffalo hide from Indonesia. And when you put your mark on this for your stitching line, it disappears right away. That's why it's off on this side. But that doesn't bother me. It gives you, and this is just my opinion, this is what gives you the hand look. That's what makes it look like it's made by hand, making it by hand. That's one of the problems I have with the bands that we see on the watches, the bands that we see on watches on YouTube that were purchased. Because the stuff that you're buying online, it's all too perfect, in my opinion. Slide this keeper over a little bit. It's just super comfortable. Of course, we have this beautiful dial, this Seiko Willard reissue. It's really phenomenal. And, you know, this is just my favorite one. I can't get enough of this. It just looks so good, the pebbling on this. At any rate, so you guys will get a kick out of this. I'd really like to know what you think, even if it is negative. I think it's a smart look. I think it's a tough look. One of the things I'm considering is on this one here, making another version where the band up top steps down. So it steps into here, but it's wider here. So it comes out, and I can make the band maybe a 22 millimeter or a 24 millimeter. I'm going to play with that look to see what I like. But that's it for now. You guys have a great day. Be kind to one another, and come back again. Tell your friends, you know. It's kind of cool. Bye.